Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to Unit 2 of the Quickstart Guide for Recovery from Addiction and Co-occurring Disorders. In this section, we're going to be talking about preventing and mitigating triggers. We're going to identify what I call PACER triggers for relapse. That is physical, affective, which means emotional, cognitive, environmental, and relationship triggers for relapse. So what are triggers? Triggers are sights, including people, places, and things, sounds, smells, and situations, lots of S's there, that make you think about doing something or bring back particular memories or emotions. You can have triggers for anxiety, triggers for grief, triggers for addiction. Triggers can be positive. They can remind you to do things that are good for you or make you happy. Puppies, for example, are a huge trigger for me. I love puppies. They make me smile. Push notifications are another type of trigger that can remind you to do something, such as go to a meeting or do a mindfulness check. Triggers, unfortunately, can also be negative. They can make you think about or want to do things that are not helpful for your recovery, cause cravings, or bring up memories or feelings that are unpleasant. For example, alcohol in the house can be a trigger for people. And just stress in general, if you're having a stressful day, that can be a trigger for you. Let's go through each one of those PACER triggers one by one. How can each of the following be a trigger for addiction, depression, anxiety, or anger? There's those 4 columns again. And how can you prevent or minimize each one? You're going to spend a while on this. If you're doing it in group, you're going to spend about 70, 75 minutes. If you are doing it individually, you're probably going to spend about 30 minutes. But I want you to think about how pain can be a trigger for addiction, depression, anxiety, or anger. A lot of people, when they feel pain, they want to numb it. And that's where addiction comes in. When they feel pain, they may feel hopeless and helpless, which is where depression comes in. When they feel pain, they may feel anxiety that something's terribly wrong, or that their pain is going to get worse, or that other people are going to reject them or judge them because they can't do the things they used to do. When you feel pain, you may also just feel angry, feel frustrated that you are in pain. So pain can trigger a lot of stuff, and it's important to recognize that because that will help you remember why it's important to try to minimize anything that can cause pain. Pain is a huge relapse trigger. Fatigue can also be a trigger. When we are fatigued, sometimes we will reach for substances to help us feel more energized. A lot of people will reach for caffeine. Now, there actually is a diagnosis for caffeine misuse, but regardless, it's important to recognize when you're fatigued, does that contribute to you wanting to do something that is going to indicate an addiction relapse? When you feel fatigued, a lot of times you also may feel kind of blah and depressed. When you feel fatigued, again, you may feel anxious or angry because you don't want to feel fatigued. You want to have energy and you're so frustrated that you don't. Cravings can be a trigger for addiction. And cravings can come from a variety of different places. But it's important to recognize that there is a chemical component to cravings. Your body is wanting dopamine. Your body is wanting some of those other brain chemicals that make you feel good. When you have cravings, it may indicate that your body is not getting what it needs to make those chemicals, whether it is enough sunlight, enough sleep, proper nutrition. You do want to look over what's going on with you and try to figure out what triggers your cravings. For some people, they may have more cravings when they are sleep deprived or, keep a nutrition journal. Maybe you find that you have more cravings for things when you are, when you haven't been eating a healthy diet, when you haven't been getting enough carbs or fats or something. For a lot of people, Cravings also may happen because they want to try to self-medicate. And so they may have cravings for foods that indicate, they are, quote, stress eating. That may indicate that they are on the way to a relapse of sorts. They may be heading towards depression or anxiety and trying to self-medicate. Withdrawals can be another physical trigger, and we talked about a lot of those already in prior sections, but it is important to remember that withdrawals are very physical in nature, and they happen because your hormones and your brain chemicals are out of balance for some reason. So thinking about how you can prevent or minimize withdrawals when you're starting to experience those. And you've already started to try to identify a lot of those strategies in prior sections. And finally, hunger. That's different than cravings, because you can crave drugs, you can crave love, you can crave sex, you can crave a lot of things. But hunger, we're really talking about food. And for some people, hunger is a trigger for things that are going on, because it is indicating that they are not getting the biochemical stuff that they need. They're not getting the nutrition that they need. So we do want to make sure that you identify any physical triggers that may be going on. Once you finish identifying how each one of those things can trigger a mood or addiction relapse, then I want you to spend a little bit more time going back over them and thinking about what things can you do to remind yourself to do those prevention activities every day. So for example, if pain is a trigger for you, which like I said, it is for a lot of people, what things do you do that may increase your pain? For example, non-ergonomic chairs, sitting in uncomfortable positions can increase back pain, increase neck pain. So what things can you do to minimize that? Well, I know that I can get up and move around. I can stretch periodically. My fitness tracker reminds me every hour that I need to get up and move. And that's also a reminder for me to sit up and use more proper posture instead of being hunched over all the time, which does contribute to pain for me. So you're going to go through each of your physical triggers. You're going to identify what may cause them for you, and you're going to identify ways that you can prevent them. How can you prevent fatigue? Well, one of the easiest ways is, having good sleep hygiene and getting plenty of adequate quality sleep and keeping your circadian rhythms in balance. Thinking about each one of those things. And you're going to add this to your relapse prevention plan. So not only are you going to be adding things in order to address relapse triggers, but you're also going to be adding things that you need to do proactively every day to prevent some of these things, like pain, like fatigue, like cravings. What is it that you need to do proactively to start being happier and healthier? A healthy body and effective pain management are essential to a recovery process. Your organs, your gut, your, everything, make the hormones and brain chemicals to help you feel happy, energized, and motivated, and control your pain. But they do that by breaking down the foods you eat. If you eat crap, you're probably going to feel like crap. Poor nutrition, pain, lack of quality sleep, and even dehydration can all slow your recovery process. Think about it kind of like a stressed lawn. Most of us have had a lawn at times. Grass needs water, sunshine, and food, nutrients. When you add fertilizer to a lawn, it improves the health of the soil and the plant, but it's not going to work well if there's also not enough sun and water. You can put the best fertilizer out there, but if it never dissolves and gets down to the roots, or if there's not enough sun for the plant to carry on its biological processes, then no amount of fertilizer is going to help. The change also usually doesn't happen overnight. But as the plant starts to absorb the nutrients, it becomes more able to rebalance itself and will start to get greener and grow and start to produce again.